Session 7. Let's get into it right now. All right, last time we ended on the Enigma, and the Enigma DCDM was an awesome one to end on yesterday, and it was a great one to begin on today. It wasn't my first trade of the day, but my best trade of the day on our live stream. If you missed that one, go check that out. It was on the NASDAQ. It was a great set of plays there. We also got to use the SCR, the split cross reversal. We had some 3 wise men area and some trapping going on in there along with it. So definitely go back and watch today's live stream. Beautiful plays in there where the Enigma and the DCDM kind of landed a little bit closer to each other. Great example, but we actually did it live in today's live stream. We had the trap back behind it with the SCR back over to the left, gave us some clues in, and then a beautiful Enigma layup on today's live stream. So great place that we ended yesterday into today. Awesome place. Yes. So we're going to cover a lot here tonight. We're going to end at the very end on the dream panel set up for full auto. So do not miss out on today's live stream. This will be the first touch into full auto as we touch into that at the end of the section here. We're right here, almost in the middle of the strategy area, if you have been following along. Okay, so on our piercers, we've done a few of these as we've done some of our other plays and walked through what happens as a dot pierces. This is going to be specifically playing into any type of piercer. We had a couple of these today on the Enigma. I had a great Enigma play there today with an audio box play. So remind ourselves, let's roll back one spot here. You remember from yesterday when we had the Enigma plus audio box. Technically, this can be a piercer. This is a very common one. One of my favorite piercers. Used to be the Fiddle piercer, but this one has become a great favorite of mine, especially if we're inside of that fiddle zone and we've just created a trap where we've moved down quickly into an area and now we're grinding back up is my absolute favorite because, as I mentioned to you before, I'm not as good on the long side as I am on the short. As we know, slow favors the bulls, fast favors the bears, and I like to get to my targets as quickly as possible. Somebody gave me a great one today for us to remember if you're writing down fun analogies, that bulls take the stairs, bears jump out the windows. Okay, that was a good one. I liked it. So on a piercer, let's give that example here on the piercer, like a scenario like this one right here. Audio box came in. I had one of these earlier today. Let's do this exact example right here. So in the live stream today, we saw the big trap that came in, and then we started to slowly creep up. And we got to right here, and everybody's wondering on that little red bar right there, are we going to continue down? And we got most retail thinking, oh, I got a nice pullback right here, and this is exactly why it works really well. And then all of a sudden we start to hear audio box clacking in, and when that started to go tat-tat-tat, I'm entering in right there, and I targeted the back of my Enigma, and then I got another plus 20 off the back of my Enigma piercer earlier today. And again, if it pierces the back of a setup like this, that's why it's called the piercer. And here in particular with the Enigma plus audio box combination, I'm simply looking at whatever the direction of the audio box cue is. If it was going in my direction of the Enigma, well, then I need to actually look for that continuation down. I wasn't sure at the time. I waited, I listened in, and as we got the clacks coming in, boom, 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 I hit that earlier today as a nice piercer play. Wanted to use that as an example as we come into the piercer section, because we just had it's fresh on my mind from earlier today. So in a piercer, sometimes price may continue to move after a fib dot appears, creating a pierced fib dot. If other factors align, this could signal a potential trading opportunity in the direction opposite of the fib dot. Now, it's very common to have a fib dot piercer, which is why that is the main example on these. You can see these. They're fairly self-explanatory on those. If you have any questions, pop them there in the chat. Remember, we are doing our session live here tonight as we are doing our bootcamp trainings, and I'm here to load you up to shorten the 40-day curve that usually takes 40 days to complete the program. I'm giving you everything you need to know. I'm not going to play that video here right now because it's such a very straightforward concept, but if you do need a reminder later on, we've got the quick video there and some more detailed examples with multiple Q&As there on the piercer play. This is This can be used on anything. You can also have a piercer on a PRZ or a, generally not going to happen too much on a shark, but let's say that you had a piercer on a 50 cent or a cipher or a butterfly or a crab. Can be the same. If you want to go in on the audio cue, it's even better. But if you are looking in that direction already for your other high time frame plays, such as the nerd is going against, let's give an example here. You're looking over there to the left and you are following our two-step rules, and you see the nerd is long, the arrow is long, and now price is moving along here and it's come inside, and we're in the PRZ, and you're thinking about looking at the back of that spot here where you're going, okay, I've got the line right here, maybe it's a shark back play here, and all of a sudden we start to break through out the back of this. Now, hopefully you've also got Audiobox. I still love it when we're going with Audiobox on it, but if you already know you are looking for a long, especially if you've got a trap down below, you can use this as a piercer opportunity. If you get a cross in here, all of a sudden a cross shows up, that just adds to the position there, and I'm going to be looking for a scenario where I can take that piercer as long as I've got two things on a higher time frame going against the lower time frame entry. Hopefully that doesn't cause too much confusion.
Up to 20,000
this helps a lot when you have live examples on these. And again, in our, we don't have as much opportunity to do that in our boot camp, but just know this is not like a standard operating procedure scenario. This is when you are just absolutely, I need a trade right now. I'm looking for a play. Usually it's going to be Audiobox. You've got traps coming in, and I see a play I can enter in as we break the back of that. If I didn't have anything else around, I'll take that as a piercer entry against whatever the play setup was, because it's just that much more powerful. If we've broken some structure like that, that means, yikes, here we go. We might be continuing on the other way. Biggest deal about a piercer is it's what is normal, and I need to flip it. So if it's green, I need to go red. If it's red, I need to go green. Okay, so if you hear me talk about a piercer in a live stream, there you go. It'll make more sense when you see live examples. Okay, the Plover, or I'm sorry for the Australian folks who actually invented this, it's the Plover. Come to find out, for us Texas folks, we're going to be like, that's a Plover right there. It's them when they're Plovers. Well, if you're from Australia, it is the Plover, and it was an Australian who actually invented or discovered this. It's inside of our playhouse. It has the general guidelines on these. What we are looking for is a nice straight leg into an area. That's one. Then I'm looking for a cross, 2, and then we've got a PRZ somewhere nearby for the target. I want to enter in on the Plover here as this is coming in. Got a straight leg. I see the target already laid out there for me. The entry is the cross, straight leg, cross, now a PRZ. This is the setup for the Plover. Make sense? Good speed scalping strategy. The Plover strategy consists of a FlowMaster cross, a PRZ yellow, and fast market speed. That is one of the keys in a scenario like this. Combines order flow and harmonic structure for Confluence. The cross appears prior to price touching the P-PRZ while it's yellow. Actually, I'm glad it said P-PRZ because that is more accurate. It will be, when it is yellow, that means it is not a PRZ, it is a P-PRZ. It is a predicted PRZ, meaning a PRZ will arrive, will show up at that location, and we want to use it for a target. Valid Plover setup also requires a FlowMaster cross to appear during a straight leg of price. That is another key there. This isn't just, okay, I've got a movement up in a direction and I've got a P-PRZ nearby. The key of that component is a nice straight leg on the algo bars. Makes sense? Nice, smooth, straight leg. It's probably going to keep on going, and we'll go to that first structure. And oftentimes it'll go a little bit farther, which is why I want to go ahead and grab that quick bag on a Plover. Let's see. The first Confluence for a higher probability Plover setup is the element of fast market speed. Yes, this can be quantified by both FlowMaster Audiobox signals matching the same direction as price movement, and Audiobox speedometer showing a higher than average speed. So on speedometer, remember, it will also tell you the speed down at the bottom right hand corner of your chart if you have the text turn on. Let's see, actually after hours here it's going to be too slow, I'm sure, but if this said too fast or it said great speed down here, it's one of those scenarios where you might have one. Actually, here was a nice Plover right here. This is an after hours scenario right here, but that is exactly a Plover right there. So that was convenient. Nice super straight leg up. I'm entering in right there. Didn't have a whole lot of room to the target there, but this is the 3s. So let's see how many ticks that is. That is, it's only 9 ticks there, but it's good enough for a 10 tick scalp on the rest of that one right there. Again, not one of my absolute favorite plays, but when they show up, it's labeled and we call it the Plover. Let's get into the next one. PRZ Cross. This is one of the first strategies we teach in kind of the beginners and basics course. When you are, it's a great showing of our Confluence combinations, structure plus R2FA. Our 2 pillars are involved in these. So pillar 1, structure. Pillar 2, RTOFA, right? So we got our structure, we got RTOFA, and what is the structure? So the structure in this case was a bat. So the structure is a harmonic, and then inside of it, you got it, a cross. And this is a FlowMaster event. So FlowMaster showing up inside of it, you can probably imagine what this is there for. So PRZ crosses, you'll see us take these a lot. I had several of these earlier today in the live streams as well. When the harmonic PRZ has formed, either bullish or bearish, wait for the FlowMaster cross to appear inside of that PRZ, right? Price structure plus real-time order flow. Simple. Very simple, straightforward. One of the basics, kind of the core foundational stuff here for our system. Order of operations, always in application. Please always remember, I'm going to keep drilling this in. I know I've said this repetitively over and over. I want you to be great. So I'm going to keep saying the things that are baseline foundational so you can't miss it. I'm not just taking every PRZ cross. I think I saw one of our members, you know, poor guy struggles a lot with some stuff, and I would love to actually see his his trades. I've asked, please record your stuff. I never get a recording from it, but it does seem as though, you know, he's just taking every single thing and then holding out too long, because I can also see in the P&L curve that it's like there's little up moves and these larger down moves. Like, I don't know if it's holding too long or what. Remember, on the base of any one of these by itself, we're looking for a T1, T2 targeting. I should mention that. So on these for your stops and targets, let's go back to the Plover real quick. I forgot those are some of the core things we need to talk about. Same old thing, stop behind a cross. Everything here, dot, box, cross, or triangle, those are, you know, pretty standard for our stuff. So hopefully everybody knew that. If you guys got any questions on those, do let me know. On a piercer, what do we do on a piercer? You're literally inverting it. So on a piercer of a dot, the stop is going on the other side of the dot. Very tiny, very small stop out on those. On an Enigma, same thing, playing on the other side of the Enigma for the stop. If you are going in on a PRZ, on a shark scenario, if you're going to play through the back of a PRZ, and we were breaking through the back, the front of the box is the stop on a PRZ piercer. Makes sense? So if I'm entering in right here, go long, then the stop is going to go at the front of the box. Sorry, should have covered that as we started to go there. I'm very excited here tonight because we got a lot of juicy stuff when we get into some of this bottom stuff, and I'm already chomping at the bit to get there. Sorry about that. So Plovers, PRZ crosses. So the stops on these, I will go the smaller of whichever ones that shows up here. If the cross is showing up back here, I'll put the box, I'll put the stop back behind the cross. Basically, both of these want to stay valid on the play. So the stop is either going to go behind the cross or behind the box, whichever one is closer to your entry. Make sense? And you're like, oh, well, it stopped out, and then it went right back. Remember, we have a 2-try rule. That comes down in the tips and tricks section, so I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but if you've been in my live streams, you'll see me talking about the 2-try rule. We never strike out because I don't do 3. I'll never strike out because I don't do 3 times, but I will swing twice, and everything's nice. Had several of those in today's live stream as well. Great. A lot of great stuff there today. It was a Mentorship Monday, a lot to cover. Did a little bit of an extended, long live stream there today. With lots of great examples that hopefully will help you guys out as well. This is an example of a super PRZ. Why? Because we've got, I'm sorry, power. I used the wrong word. Super is if it has a ready DD in front of it. This one does not have a ready DD, so that is not super. My apologies. This would be a power PRZ cross. Entry short. Where's our stop go? So stop back behind the box. Now, you could, you know, I'm not going to fault you if you put the stop, give it some extra room, and you put it back behind the cross. You know, up to you on that. But the idea of this is both of them stay valid and being unbroken on a PRZ cross for the best plays. Okay. And again, you can always 2-try rule. So target 1, target 2, hold for runners, same old deal, depending on which algo bar that they show up on. If they are coming in on the big chart, then we're holding out for a larger target. So remember, here is the top one. This is my AB large, or what I call big. So if you hear me in the last moment say big or small, if I'm up here on the algo bar 6s, 5s, this is going to be big targeting. So I'm looking for the bigger target. If I'm entering in on the small, like the 1s, 2s, or 3s, then I'm using the small ATM, and the targets will be, you know, according to the bar size. So small, lowest we're ever going to do is 10 ticks, 10 and 15 targets on small if it's coming in on the 1s, 2s, or 3s. And then you start getting up above that. Even the 3s is that iffy spot where you can go big. On that one, usually on 3s, I'm looking for a big, or I'll just close out the position if it comes back to me on flat. Power PRZ Cross to the short side. Here's what it looks like on the long. Targets are determined by using the small or big targeting. It's all the stuff I just talked about right there is right there in the notes if you are going through our documentation. And determined by big or small targeting ATM depending on other factors such as high time frame bias, MACV ultimate, and SMA gate timings. If you're looking for holding on to runners, are we with the nerd and the arrow, or are we against it? Key factor here that I do want to point out, pop quiz, good one to kind of break things up here. Let's ask a question. If the nerd and arrow is against me, couple questions. Number one, can I trade against the nerd and the arrow? Just question one, can I? Yes or no? Am I allowed to on pretty much any of our play setups? Can I play against the nerd and the arrow? First answer is yes. Now you might be thinking, oh, that doesn't sound like a good idea. Well, that's what I wanted you to say. Yes, with some nuance too. So if it is yes, and if I can, then what am I going to do with my targeting? And my stopping, really. Yes, but should you? Exactly. But if it's absolutely perfect, like, you know, in some of those examples up above, like it looked like, you know, the market was up and up and up, and then when I get into that play setup, now hopefully I've got something on the higher time frame, like a masher or a new bar or something that's going to give me maybe an opportunity for a bit of a turn. But yes, I already see if you put T1, you should be thinking T1. Target 1, aka, look, I'm looking for a quick scalp, right? Looking for a small bag right here. All right, if I'm going to go against those, just don't try to superhero it. Don't be trying to hold on to it. Be like, oh, it's going to go forever. And especially, you know, this is going to happen a lot too. You see the setup and you click it late. Like you come in and you see it and it reacts really fast. And while the ideal entry is like way up here somewhere, right? You press the button and inevitably you find yourself getting entered right here. Not getting the greatest entry because you're either slower or just didn't react fast enough and you're behind it. At this point, please, T1. I have seen so many people like, oh, well, I went out on that play and then I tried to hold it and it went to right here, but I needed it to go here. All right, and then it came back up on me because I measured out 10 ticks. Yeah, but it went 10 from back here, right? You were like 5 or 6 ticks behind. Like you only got 4 ticks left. Please, like, you close out the position, right? If you missed it, it's okay. There will be another trade. So if you find yourself behind on the play, take it real quick, okay? Get in there, learn to use the bid ask buttons on your exits. It's advanced level stuff that we'll talk about as we get into it later. But if you're late on a play, please bail out, okay? Just if you're late, okay, you didn't make that one. We'll get the next one. T1, yeah, use that small ATM. ATM should be tiny or small. Yeah, I would even rather, if you find yourself always behind on plays, use a tiny ATM. You know, it's there to help you out so you can grab, you know, some small bags if you're behind on things or whatever. Like, same time, if you do find yourself continuously behind on stuff, then let's move up time frames, okay? Let's move higher time frames if it's too fast for you right there, or practice. Let's get into some market replay and get in there and practice getting in quickly, having that confidence to click the button quickly, so you can grab that quick bag. So this might be a scenario where, yeah, like this might be nerd short and arrow short, but you're like, dude, this is a perfect play. It's juicy. It's a power. Okay, look, T1, T2, be satisfied, okay, if you're going against it. Now, it's great. Sure, if we got the whole thing and it's just a pullback in that area, fantastic. Hold that sucker out. Trying to keep things simple. if it's with the nerd and with the arrow, then sure, hold on, go to T2, move your T1 out, throw your T1 out farther, go for T2 and a runner, or go for T2 and it starts coming back on you. Cool, close out the position, which means you got a T1 and a T2, which is why I say all the time, you're going with the right things. You can live on T1 and T2. Just nerd and arrow going with you. Fantastic. Let's take those plays.
When a harmonic PRZ, bullish or bearish, forms, wait for a FlowMaster cross to appear. That's the PRZ cross setup. For example, a bearish PRZ cross, trade in the same direction as the harmonic pattern. For a bullish PRZ cross, trade in the direction of the harmonic pattern. Price should move up. Place stops behind the FlowMaster cross. For targets, use small or big target ATM strategies. Combine the harmonic PRZ with FlowMaster Alpha Omega Cross for a power PRZ cross setup for maximum potential. And that's it for the PRZ cross. See you in the next one.
Awesome. And just because I just love our shorts,
I'm going to show you how we trade the PRZ cross strategy with Algobox. Here we have a red bat harmonic pattern for shorts and a white FlowMaster cross. Place the stops just above the FlowMaster cross. Algobox real-time order flow analysis. Remember to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Download your free trial at algoboxpro.com.
All right, thank you for letting me give my voice a quick break there and grabbing a beverage here. Let's move on to P-PRZ Ladders. The ladders. There was one of these today too. So many great, you know, if you're like, oh, I bet you won't see these very often. No, you're going to see these all the time. Have I seen one of every single one of these so far today? Let's see. Plover was end of day. I did not see a Plover intraday. Definitely had a piercer. Definitely had a PRZ cross. Yeah. So all these except for the Plover there so far during the actual live stream today. You're going to use these things, or they're going to show up whether you use them or not. Like, hey, I taught them to you. Okay. P-PRZ ladders, predicted potential reversal zone ladders. Learn more about those in the harmonic PRZs. Make sure you know the harmonic PRZs. Go back in the videos on those. I'm pretty sure if you guys are on this video, you already have because you've been good students. When there are more P-PRZs than usual, lined and stacked up, it is considered a P-PRZ ladder, and there may be a chance of price climbing, air quotes here, climbing up or down the ladder, potentially with some speed. So visually, this, you're like, what in the world is that? So you'll hear me refer to these as a ladder. So I like to picture down the left-hand side, you're climbing up a ladder. Hopefully your ladder doesn't look like this one, or you're probably going to break a leg because there looks like there's stuff missing in there. But if you drew a few more steps in there, you know, maybe we've got a safe ladder. But I wouldn't necessarily consider this to be safe, but I'm generally going to be using these for targets. All right, targets, or kind of think of them as magnets for price that they might want to finish out their structures in these areas. So let's walk through some of that. The bigger the ladder, the better the potential move. So it's like having multiple magnets. Imagine like you just got these, you know, giant magnets sitting down here. I'm terrible at drawing, so just help me out here. All right, so I'm just picturing these things. We're just pulling it down. We're just pulling price down to it right here with this cool magnet looking thing, and we're sucking it down into it. The more, the better. All right. So this one, a lot of strength in this up above us. The P-PRZ ladder is a targeting strategy, not for entries. Now, not saying that you couldn't have an entry once we do like come up into these. Now, a PRZ by itself, we trade nothing alone, right? I'm not looking to just take a harmonic alone. I want it with some type of RTOFA event or any other thing. Maybe if it had timing, or maybe if it had a giant delta, but in general, I don't want to take anything alone. As you guys remember, what's our phrase? Trade nothing alone. We're looking for confluence on everything that we do, and especially our two pillars. What are our two pillars? Two pillars of a trade is 1, structure, 2, RTOFA event. All right, I'm going to keep drilling in. Like, Vinny, you've said this 100 times. Good. You're never going to forget, are you? When P-PRZs are used for targets and they disappear, Vinny Emini likes to reduce his targets accordingly in these situations. So Yeah, this is some technique type of stuff there around this. Just generally all you need to know is if I got some ladders around, be careful. Looking at your direction, if you're trying to catch a bias, hopefully you've already got your bias predetermined. We're not trying to get bias off of one of these just because there's ladders above you. Doesn't mean that this price goes down, right? What overrides this? Okay, nerd, right? The nerd first. The nerd first. This is more like, well, how many ticks am I going to get? I can use a measure going, okay, is this worth my risk based on whatever I got? Now, I need an entry first. I don't have an entry on these setups, but the nerd and the arrow are much more important for my bias than just going, oh, well, I've got ladders up above me, I must go long. No, right? These do not override the power of the combo of the nerd and the arrow. When they're with it, even better. Hopefully I can target that sucker out there. If I've got a long side bias on the nerd, it's long, and the arrow is long, and we've got this nice juicy trap down here, and I see that cipher all the way up there, and I measure that out, and that thing's 50 ticks away. Beautimous, right? I might even push my targets out and hold it all the way through. Try to hold all the way through all those if I'm up on the day and I'm looking for a big play. Examples, P-PRZ ladder for price targets. Live example right there on the charts. Here's one from, it's a older image right there. This one's got the old school marshmallows on it from before when NinjaTrader 8. They still to this day won't let you, they don't have crosses in their package anymore. We had to actually create our own custom to make the crosses that we currently have.
P-PRZ ladders can help you anticipate potential fast-moving price action. P-PRZ ladder forms when multiple predicted potential reversal zones are stacked up. Instead of a single PRZ, we see multiple levels, creating a ladder-like structure where price may climb up or down, sometimes with speed. A P-PRZ ladder to the downside. Notice how price moves rapidly through the stack levels. The bigger the ladder, the stronger the potential move. And here's a P-PRZ ladder to the upside. When price starts climbing, it can hit multiple PRZ levels quickly, offering high probability target areas. Quick tip, P-PRZ ladders are for targeting, not for entries. They help plan exits and profit taking, not where to enter a trade. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
So the question was, how do I identify the trap? That needs its own video. In fact, we have our own videos around that on identifying traps. This is something that takes a little bit of time to get used to, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let me ask you, so this is directed to you, Epic Future. So let's say that you had been watching this play setup. You didn't know this. Let's pretend just for a second. Let's erase what you currently saw over here on the right. You had seen this little move, you were involved when you saw this little, it's itching its way up, and then all of a sudden you saw this giant leg down, and then you saw a little blue coming up here, and then you see red again, and you see red again. Just in general, not trying to get tricky with it, what do you feel here? Long or short? How does it make you feel? What is your feeling as you see this giant red go up nice and straight like that? Do you feel like this is going to keep going down, or do you feel like we're moving up? Well, now let's say that after your red leg, we've seen some up and down and down and down and down and down and down. So the idea here is you should be, if you're being honest, you should be feeling like, okay, wow, this thing, it looks like price is going down. And now if you're a reversal trader and you're just one of those people that's like, oh, if it's super extended down, then I think it's going to come back up. And what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. Okay, again, you might be a reversal trader. Okay, you might have that default feeling in you, and I totally get it. I've been there. But this should be feeling to most traders if they're trying to figure out whether they're going to be a continuation or a reversal. This feeling right here, this feels short to most traders. If you experienced it. Now, looking at it in hindsight, you might be like, oh, okay, yeah, it looks like, well, it might be done with that. It might be coming back up. But in the time, if you were to cut this off, look to the right, and all I showed you was that, like, you are probably maybe even thinking like, oh, this is going to keep going. And it also has to do with the speed. Yeah, exactly. Somebody said, well, it kind of depends on the speed of it too. 100% right. We can't really see it in a stagnated image, but in general, when I'm looking for a trap, if I can feel it, and I just ask myself, what does retail think right now? This is how we start to think through a trap. What does retail think? Again, if they were, and we're not, don't pretend like they're dumb. Pretend like they're smart retail, okay? That they have a brain, and be like, what does it feel like? And maybe even, if I didn't know what I was doing, would I have hit the button? Now, if it wasn't so convincing that you would hit the button, this is kind of the last deal. Be like, yeah, if I thought it was short, would I have hit the button on that? Yeah, I might have. If you didn't, and then it was like, then it wasn't convincing enough. If it looks very convincing on that direction, then I'm looking to see if there were traders trapped at that location. So this is all defining, trap. When you're trying to identify traps, there's no perfect science to this. You'll get better at it over time. I just ask myself, what did traders think right there? Did it look like they got trapped right there? Especially when price is kind of getting up to here. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that we've got traders trapped down there. Even better if we've got crosses. Now that's one of our keys of Algobox is you'll see white crosses show up down in there. And if you see them in on down bar moves, then you're like, oh, okay, they were looking for the continuation. They're stuck. Once price gets right up above those crosses, it kind of traps them in because they're short. You're like, okay, it looks like they're trapped. They're short. When I mean trapped, I literally mean, okay, they've pressed the sell button, and as price is moving up and against them, they're like, oh no, like they're feeling the pressure, they're feeling the anxiety. We've all been there, been on the wrong side of a trade, and it's like inching its way up, and they're going, oh, please stop. And they're like, oh, okay, it's coming back down, and then it's like, and they're like, no, and then they're like, okay, it's coming back down. You know what? I'm going to add to my position right here, and then it's like, but no, generally we're looking over here to go, do I see that somebody got offsides? Do I see that it would be logical for hopefully a lot of people around the world to have gotten offsides on that? If so, riding that trap back up in the opposite direction is going to be key. So when I say things like, do I see a trap to my left? It's something convincing in the opposite direction. Usually has to do with smooth legs, super fast looking legs, smooth down or up moves in a direction, convincing moves. Like this one. It's like, boom. All right. Oh yeah, it looks like we're going to keep going up. And once they've been, convinced, and if I get a play set up over here, then I might think, okay, traders might be trapped long over here. Maybe it looks like they got long over in that area. So I would ask myself, does it feel like there might be trapped traders up in that pivot? Yes. Versus long, where I may put my stop. That may or may not thoroughly answer your question. You're going to need to see a lot of those. I will try to point out as many of these as we can as we go through our play setups, which I have. If you've been watching as we're going through, particularly around the J hooks and after the Enigma into double crosses, double cross, double moves, I'm looking for that trap to the left, and there's a lot of examples of those. You'll get better at that over time, but it's just basically looking for a convincing move in a direction. Here's an example of one right there. That looks like a trap and a half to me right there. That looks like a massive trap. Oof. Those are some of the worst, which is why this Richie works really nicely. So let's talk about the Richie. This is simply a price structure trap pattern. Okay, it is a trap. So the Richie is a price pattern that often traps sellers, setting the stage for a potential upward move. Now, it doesn't always have to be downward. It can be flipped the other way, but basically a reversal. Okay. The beehive pattern often traps both buyers and sellers, causing short-term confusion. The upswing of the fast V reversal provides temporary relief on the buy side, attracting new buyers, and then the swift down leg attracts new sellers while targeting the sell stop losses of those new buyers at the same time. Previous sellers still holding their positions may exit their short at close to break even, adding to the buy pressure. This fast reversal trap move amplifies the explosiveness of our potential long entry in the case of this image down below. So let's look at this. Coming down into an area first. Now the beehive, you'll hear us talk about the beehive. It requires a big movement into it, and then all of a sudden you kind of get this little gyration. I think of a beehive, if you've I don't know if I'm gonna draw a very good one here or not, but it's like a beehive laying on its side. But Winnie the Pooh going for the beehive, hanging from the tree here. All right, and now it's turned on its side. That's what the beehive is. If you're wondering, like, well, where did you come up with beehive? This looks like it's a beehive sitting on its side. Okay, and don't get stung. Moving in, beehive, trying to fake everybody out. Then everybody's looking. Medusa effect. You'll hear me talk about it. Medusa effect. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, we're long. Okay, here we go. So everybody's like, okay, so we're out of the beehive now. We're going long. And then, don't think so. And now they're like, oh my goodness. So now you've got massive amounts of confusion. All kinds of people. Wasn't strong enough to really get anybody off of either side. And then the real move comes. And this thing runs like a boss. Extreme pain here for the people who got short. Now, if they had gotten short over here, because earlier we got this nice convincing down move from before. You got the guy who's short. You got the guy who lived through it over here being like, oh, phew, okay, I'm good. Got some of them shaking out. But now you got the guy who might have been still hanging in here and still here like, oh, this is looking good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's going to go down. It's going to go down. Oh, yeah. And when it doesn't, and you get that little doggy head right there, that's his last spot. Hopefully he closes out quickly over this spot, but if he doesn't, the pain train is coming. Entries, we can get in on a one-tick wonder. That was one of the first trade strategies we looked at from before. One-tick wonder, what does that mean? We broke one tick under these prior pivots. Just barely one little tick here. I can try little entries there and quick stop outs if it doesn't work. Okay, so one of these like very, very tiny stops on one tick wonders. That's what's great about them. When you see a play set up like this, like, okay, I might give it a shot. Might even get some resting orders right there. And then if it breaks through them, close out quickly. But big, big moves up out of a Richie. The key on a Richie basically looks like this. The main thing is this part over here. The beehiving, the up, the down, and then the up move afterwards. It is a nasty, nasty trap. If you're on the wrong side of it, if you've ever felt it, you'll know. The Richie strategy emphasizes the importance of implementing patience by stalking trades while the pattern is unfolding to align with the higher time frame bias and waiting for a valid entry strategy at the right moment. The Richie may have an increased probability when the Algobox bias shows longs favorable. So we got the longs favorable bias that it's talking about right there. And of course, one of our more new items that we'll use is the nerd and the arrow for the combo. Yes. So even better if you get a play set up in it. This one is where you get the Richie and then right back behind it. I mean, you don't even have to have the Richie, technically speaking. Here, that just ends up powering it up even more. Got the Richie to the left with the beehive. That classic kind of what I kind of call the middle finger play. I feel like I can stick a middle finger in there. And it's kind of a big, you can kind of get a big FU play. And it's very difficult to get out of if you're on the wrong side of it. Then you got a juicy Enigma, is a power MoonShot right there. Powered up with an AO and the Enigma. You can take that one by itself. It just happens to be even better landing on king timing. Remember our king timing areas there? Hopefully you guys remember that. Hadn't forgot that from our earlier lessons. That's perfect king timing. Large and king timing coming in right there. And big up move off of that one. When the low of the beehive range has been reached, look for more confluence of reversal signals as such. So a lot of these to add to it for confluence, and this applies almost to all of our things. We love to see confluence on any of these showing up at the same time. Let's watch the Richie trap because it might do even a better explanation of explaining some of those traps there for you.
The Richie is a price structure that often traps traders, creating the ideal conditions for a potential move. It's part of the beehive pattern, causing confusion and trapping both buyers and sellers temporarily. The Richie strategy works best when the Algobox bias favors longs. After the fast V reversal, we see increasing buy pressure as sellers exit. This sets up an explosive long entry. To increase the probability of success, watch for additional confluence with indicators like Delta Flag, FlowMaster, Alpha Omega, and others. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
And that was the beastie MoonShot, power MoonShot on that one there at the end. So the Richie is a trap pattern, not necessarily an entry. The shark back and the shark tail. Another one of these that I like to teach early in the series in our 40-day program. I teach this one early because you can basically play this one all by itself. And I know you're like, but wait, Vinny, I thought you said trade nothing alone. Well, I'd still rather this shark be in the direction of OOP, right? Order of operations. Still got to have that. However, the shark back by itself, we're still good. And sure, I'd love it if I got some RTOFA along with it, got some audio box. Remember, audio box also counts as RTOFA, but a shark back play for a target one scenario is a lot of fun. If you wanted to go back and back test this, I would encourage you in this lesson, you might want to take a moment and take a clean chart, add the harmonics to it, take off all of the other remember when we went into the harmonics section, you could unselect everything except for the shark by itself. And I want you to look at how powerful the shark is. It is, in my opinion, the most powerful harmonic. And look at how often the shark back plays off of, the reason it's called the shark back is because that back line is where that is the ideal entry for me. I really want to see this land all the way back here. Now, sometimes the play doesn't get all the way back there, and I'm kind of bummed out sometimes. I actually had one earlier today that came in. It was a red shark, and it touched just to the front of it and then took off on me, and I was like waiting on it, stalking it to wait to get a little deeper, get into the shark back, so I get this little tiny stop out, and it ended up going right there and just taking off without me. So kind of almost real, and I didn't FOMO on that one though. I was pretty proud of myself, pat myself on the back that I didn't jump in ahead of time, but I also missed the play. So, all right, so shark back, it is exactly what it sounds like. You are playing the back of the shark. Now my target one is literally the front of the shark. So this hits so often, it's like 80% of the time I'm hitting the front of that shark before I go out the back. Just, that's why I like this play, love it. Looking for the front of that for target one. The rest is hold to the opposing signal. If I am with the nerd, with the arrow, you can guess it. I'm going to try to hold that thing as long as I possibly can. But if I'm wanting something that I can quick scalp on, it's another one great for just a quick scalp on sharks, looking for the front. Now, remember that sometimes these can be very large. These will come up on all time frames. You'll see these as high as the 89 range. And so sometimes the front of an 89 from the back of the shark back to the front can be 100 ticks on the super high time frames. But basically, remember, this is going to be adjustable. It's not always the same size from the front to the back. This will depend on what AB algo bar number that you're on. Stop on a shark back should be obvious at this point. You know the deal. Stops behind dots, boxes, or crosses. This is going to be a box because it's just a box. So stop at the back. On the long side, stops underneath, looking for the direction.
NY
right?
lawmakers, Governor Hochul reached
Algobox, sharkback, and sharktail strategies are harmonic patterns based on Fibonacci retracements, extensions, and projections of price structure, which can indicate a potential reversal zone. Algobox automatically, instantly, and continually plots these harmonic patterns, so you don't have to let the tools do the work, as our motto states. Now, the difference between a sharkback and a sharktail.
Voice news disconnected.
Didn't want him to interrupt us anymore there. A sharktail. So it is at the tail of a shark, right? We got the back. I consider this line at the back of the shark. That's the shark's back. And the tail is back here. That's the tail behind the box. And when an event shows up back here, and I say an event, oftentimes it's an RTOFA event. The cross happens a lot. This will be a shark tail. I can enter in on that cross, and I'm looking for the up move. Stop goes behind the cross. Does not go back here, obviously, because it happens generally behind here. Sometimes it's a dot that shows up back here, so I will play. The shark just powers it up. So I'm looking for this is technically a PRZ cross play if it's got a cross, but it is a shark tail by specific definition. In the same way that a diamond dot is in the category of an HMD. Don't be confused, I'm talking about another concept here. HMD is the diamond dot, or the diamond dot is, a diamond dot is an HMD. The shark tail is a PRZ cross entry. It is just a specific type. A shark tail is a PRZ cross. Looking for the combo, and there can be a dot back there. Here's an example with a AO back there. So that is going to be a power shark tail. Something that happens on the tail of the shark. Here's one with the dot that shows up back here. So technically this is a HMD. Particular type. So this is a shark tail HMD. And I'm looking for the combination of the confluence of the harmonic pattern of the shark plus something else even juicier on a tail. Make sense? Got the tail. So sometimes if I've entered in on the shark back and I've gotten short, like here. So I got short on the shark back and I'm like, oh, it stopped out. And then boom, at 11.8, I'm going to press the button again. That happens a lot on the shark tails, which is why you want to kind of keep them in the back of your mind and ready, right? Keep your finger over the triggers and ready, because it's one where you're like, okay, oh, you stopped out, and then, oh, it came back. I need to get another play at it, and targets are the same. Front of the shark for target 1, and then runners for fun. Especially if you've got the direction of the nerd and the arrow. Even better if you got audio box coming as well. Another one to the short side. Stop goes above the cross. Here's one with the HMD with the dot going as your stop back behind the dot. Now, here is a piercer scenario. Tricky, but remember, this is just an HMD. Remember how I said earlier that this is just a fancy HMD? So if I am in on the shark back long, and all of a sudden a red dot shows up, remember our other key phrase, I say recency is key. We've said this multiple times now. I want to get this drilled into you. So it will always be the most recent. What's the most recent? Well, the shark showed up first. What was next? The dot. So what's more important? The dot. And in any HMD, what is the rules around the HMD? You go in the direction of the dot or the cross. You go in the direction of the dot. So all the same. See how it all ties together? There's nothing new. We're just adding to and just pulling things together. Follow the color of the dot. That's right, Pablo. Same targeting. Well, not same targeting because there's no front of the shark to target, right? So on these, we're looking for T1, T2, and runners if you are in the direction of the nerd and the arrow. Target 1, target 2 being satisfied if not. HMD, a green shark harmonic gets pierced, and then a bright red favela dot appears, hinting at a continuation to the downside. Break. When price continues through the back of a harmonic PRZ, it's considered a break of the harmonic structure. Yeah, we talked about that before. Great. An example of red shark with a green dot. So same thing in the other direction. We're looking for, initially, we're like, okay, I'm getting short here. Oh, shoot, green dot. And it is a scenario where typically this might be one of the few cases that we might want to hit the reverse button right here. Now, hopefully with a nice straight leg coming in like this, hopefully we've got audio box kicking and holding you off of getting on a short, and you might be holding off on getting short because maybe we've got the nerd and the arrow moving up on you on a scenario like that so that you're not having to punch in the reverse button on it. But if you're a shark back player and you're going to press that, I totally get it. I love shark backs. I pretty much take every single one. If I get a setup on them, I'm going to take that shark back when I can. Because it's such a small stop. Again, I'm willing to risk that little tiny, remember, out of shark back, I'm like, I'm running right there. My stop is right there. I mean, they're like right next to each other. Oh, man, that's a, that's a favorite. That's a favorite. A 21.6 on top of it. Even juicier. Gotta love it. Shark tail. And another shark tail. Enigma on the backside. The shark tail strategy combines market structure, geometry with real-time order flow analysis, taking it in addition, well, and it's not just the R2FA, because you can technically have a dot, and a dot would be a structure, so you just got multi-structure landing at that spot. I've got some nice examples and a full video around that concept, and this is one where, again, this is a full strategy all by itself, just a shark back alone and the shark tail. Definitely, in an arsenal scenario, if you're choosing ones, this is one that I'm like, look, don't neglect this one. I would have this one. If you're choosing 3 or 4 strategies that you want to make your own, I would, me personally, I would definitely want this one as kind of a pretty simple, straightforward one right there. Strategy Confluence, trade nothing alone. All right, I think we've hit on this a lot, but now it's got its own section here talking about strategies. The trade nothing alone strategy. What do you think that might mean? It literally means combine things, use things together. Lots of combinations, killer combos of stuff inside of our system, right? We use the state-of-the-art algorithmic trading software to trade nothing alone. Algobox enables traders to easily combine various tools and strategies for their advantage. Most Algobox tools already individually consist of multiple confluence points. So when multiple Algobox tools and strategies are combined, market edge increases substantially. This approach potentially creates greater confidence in trading analysis. So let's get into some examples. Confluence, example 1, using the order of operations Method to stack Confluence in our favor. Study the example below. Let's take a peek. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see what we got here. So high time frame. I've got some pretty juicy power up scenarios right there. I've got the overextension here. I've got a giant delta here. Looking at the combos, I'm like, oh, this looks like a lot of juicy combinations going on right here. And of course, my entry though, I'm definitely wanting to take that. Even better if I've got this on a lower time frame. But here up on the 6s, I've got a headshot plus an Enigma. I mean, when they get this juicy, it's kind of hard to say no, right? You don't have to just, you know, like if you're, I think you should be more choosy in general. A lot of people that are playing too much, I can kind of see those in P&Ls where they're, you know, taking a shot at everything and also they neglect their targets. I have seen a lot of people that are, even if you are going to take everything, then you need to make sure that you adhere to the T1, T2 scenario. Remember, they are fine-tuned to target 1, target 2 on the bar that they're firing off on. The extra is if you've got higher time frame or the nerd in the arrow with you. Just pro tip there as we're going through these. Okay. Example 2, with a headshot and a masher strategy on the MACV, brings our attention to look for longs on the Ripple charts, where we see delta flagging indications and another headshot. All right, let's see if we can walk through this one here. High time frame, I can see we had the power headshot up top there. We had the masher. This is a great example of the masher right here. So both of them coming down to the same pivot on the histogram, not necessarily in price because this one came from here. This one is way up here, but that's the point of the masher. So we got the masher. Then we got a headshot on the higher time frame. Pretty easy along with this direction here. And then, oh, double delta down below as well with a cipher. I mean, it is a... I think the confluences become pretty obvious once you know the individual items, which you have been learning this entire time. These are examples of putting them all together. Confluence example number 3. The cluster reversal strategy below shows up at a king timing on Ripple A, along with several other factors of confluence on the other charts. First thing, my eye hits that cluster right away. Yeah. So we learned the cluster entry, and now let's look for confluence up top. Okay, well, I do see the last setup here was the touch of a Bollinger. We've got the red and divergence showing up on the high time frame. Here we are looking to the left and going, okay, also reached a masher point. We got some big deltas to enhance the play for looking for larger targets. We come into a structure that's red up top, and that's landing with a cluster entry for number 5 on king timing. You see the king timing a little bit faded there, but that is also on king timing. Got the combos. These are kind of good to quiz yourself on. Example 4, make sure you can identify everything in the shot. Sense? So number 4 here, I see a headshot here. Here I see a power Enigma MoonShot short right there. Let's see. Test your knowledge. Find the headshot on king timing. Okay. Yep. I think we found that one first, right? On king timing, and it's a headshot. So the combination there, and we also identified the moonshot over here on the left. Study. After I read Enigma MoonShot has run its course during a downtrend, a headshot strategy appears on king timing at the low of day. Yeah. So we kind of got both of them there. So this one we can get short. And then if we're holding a runner, we're exiting on the opposing signal. Boom. Got the green dot for the exit. Pressing the my short key out of habit on my ruler tool because I wanted to measure that out, see how many ticks that got. And then we got a play to the upside. Confluence example number 5. A double dot strategy appears after a confluence of contextual signals. So on this one, I see a break of a shark. So it ends up being an HMD long. Just to the left of it, we had the headshot long as well with a level 17 with a headshot. All kinds of juice going on right here. And then this is a double dot area right here that this play looks like entering in on a double dot after this move up to the left. Can I see a trap? Yes. Remember we talked about that? Get better and better at looking at traps over time. So we see move 1, move 2, move 3, move 4, move 5, move 6, up. Big leg again, and more continue. Okay, that could definitely trap some traders. And then a nice another straight leg again right here. You can definitely get them. You can see them getting trapped in there on something like that. We got a double dot the other direction. Nice little juicy play there. Watch a bullish headshot followed shortly by a bullish power headshot marking the bottom of the session. The bearish shark back PRZ is pierced in combination with the bullish audio box. We didn't have audio box, so we couldn't hear it in this image, but just imagine you can hear the sounds. Then a double dot setup appears for a good long trade. Stop loss is placed. Very cool. Example number 6. Here are 2 examples where the J hook. Oh, we caught talking about the J hook. This is a complex one, and what did I tell you before? We want to use that in combination, especially if you are a new player. Don't play this one by itself. I think this one takes a little bit more time to adapt. It has a little bit higher risk in general, especially if you're playing it by itself, which is why I still recommend that you play it in combination with something else like this one. Beautiful headshot after the J hook. J hook has shown itself. We got a trap over there to the left, and then J hook headshot entry to the long side for all 3 targets on that combo. Here's one in the opposite direction. Again, some of my favorites. Headshot combo with the J hook. You're going to see these a lot. So take screenshots of this, save this one, get ready for them. When you're seeing a J hook, think, ooh, I hope I get a headshot. Get ready for it. All right. Welcome back. Happy Friday. So I'm going to go through what I call perfect plays and waiting for the perfect plays, because there are different ways to play our system, but I want to talk about the advantages of just waiting for absolutely perfect plays. Now, while I'm on live streams, I might play some things while we are inside the fiddle in the middle. Now, mind you, this this chat here we're going to have today in this video, it's going to be for more advanced users. I'm not going to go and explain every single item. So you make sure you go through our training course if you don't know what some of the things are that I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about the fiddle zone here, for example. But if you get lost on this is an advanced level topic here. This is for the Friday folks. At the beginning of the week, we kind of focus on the beginners and mentorship Monday. On Fridays, I'm going through advanced topics. Today is going to be one of those. I'm talking about perfect plays. So right now, would we say that we're in a spot here for perfect plays? You should immediately be able to answer no. Why? Because we are literally on the flat line, right? The flat line, flat zone right there on the MACV histogram. And we're inside the fiddle zone and on the flat. So things like, can I avoid taking this Enigma right here? Yes. I mean, normally this is an absolutely perfect number, 21.6. But if you have been perfecting your plays and you're like, I'm only going to take absolutely perfect plays, let's look at the advantage here. There have been plenty. Today has been an awesome, awesome day here for perfect play setups. But right here, what do I say? On the Enigmas, if you are on the flat line, this is the only place that I might reverse those plays or skip on the Enigma. This is actually happening in real time right now. Let's see if we're right about the reversal. It looks like we are. Remember the target for that. Be right back up here behind the Enigma. Let's see if it ends up breaking that. We also have a J hook that has not completed prior, and there we go. Boom. Targets filled on the Enigma reversal. But let's talk about the other perfect play setups that came in here today. We had this perfect play right here. Does this not look so juicy? That is a juicy, juicy play. What is this one? Well, we have a ready up here, so we know we already start with a super. So that's going to be the 89. Oh, the pretext. Sorry, I was looking for a particular name there on that. It has a name. I forget what it's called when you're putting something, it's a superset in front of the word. Anyhow, so we have the first component. We've got this super. We also have a PRZ cross. So here we have a super PRZ cross short right there. Beautiful dropout. Let's measure out how many ticks on a perfect PRZ super. That is a 42 tick dropout there for a perfect play. You can just wait for absolutely perfect plays there. Now, what do we have down here? We have a super bat to the upside on the bottom of a channel. That is a super perfect play. Just wait for those setups to come in and you can do plenty of damage. This up move, if you're holding to the opposing signal there, that is 52 ticks on a perfect play. Let's move over here to the left. Look at this one. The super, right? Why is it a super? Because we have the ready up, right? So we start with the super that's powered it up. And what's the play? 16.4 Enigma right back behind a shark. So you also have the combination, if you have watched the video on the shark tail. What is a shark tail? After the break of a shark, back behind, the next play behind a shark of an RTOFA event. What is an RTOFA? Real-time order flow analysis. Again, if you're getting lost on this, today is advanced level stuff. It is Friday, so we're talking about some of the things. I'm not going to go explain every single detail. You can go into our documentation section, though, if you are following along. And even the advanced level folks, you need to become more familiar with the DCDM documentation section. So I am going to mention that right here. Go to docs.algoboxpro.com. If you're watching this at a later time, this may not be available in the public because this will be moved in here in 2025 into the premium member only section with a login on our website, algoboxpro.com. But for now, docs.algoboxpro.com and full documentation on all of the components inside of our system. So head into here if you are lost on, hey, what's this thing he just said? What's the ready DD? What's he talking about? You can go look up every topic there inside of the full documentation section with graphics and all of the individual settings and all of that. So we have a super Enigma long here. If we're holding to the opposing signal, that actually came out of, looks like a shark PRZ right there, 26 ticks for a nice perfect play holding to the opposing signal. Now there's some nice ones in here. This one's just a pure cipher, nothing. I would not take that. Why? Because it's by itself, right? I am a big fan of trade nothing alone. Now we have these triple crosses right here. This is a 3 wise men. At the time, I'd have to look back to see if we had the red MACV. Let's see if we can tell what time that was. 11:15. Yes, so we're on the red side, right? And so we have, first of all,
this is what Ivy League universities you can get into with 3.6
words from our
GPA.
sponsor. You could take this as a 3 wise men, but one of my favorites is actually a more pinpoint entry location scenario is called the SCR. If you don't know what that is, go back into our live streams. I've not done a full video on the SCR, but you guys have seen me do this a lot in the live streams. We do a lot of training in those in real-time markets, the split cross reversal. So it's not a double cross. If you go back and look at double cross, double moves, those are relatively close to each other within 10 or 15 bars of each other. But these will be kind of a very, you just have to get used to it. This is a split cross reversal right here. When you've got a nice set of leg in between them, you got one, then you got the second one. Split cross reversal is basically enter in the reverse direction on the second cross. The reason I like these is it's got a very small risk. The stop is at the top of the cross, and it's a big move like a boss, right? Easy one on the split cross reversal or the 3 wise men for, let's look at the down move down to the cipher for the target, 28 ticks for the full move. You know, and again, of course, you don't have to hold for the whole 28 ticks. Up to you if you want to take target 1, target 2 with a runner. The runners go to the opposing signal. If you don't know what the opposing signal is, go back to our trainings and just basically look. If you are going short, we're looking for the next green signal. That is going to be your runner target. That's how we play the video game. Again, you don't have to. That's just how I do it if you're following along how I execute on our system. Had a nice, beautiful Enigma follow through here up to the Enigma target. Boom, target's filled, and then we drop back off there after the butterfly up top. But let's go look at some of the perfect. I don't want to talk about the good plays like this. We're talking about let's find the absolutely perfect plays that are coming in here today. Let's say that you waited for those perfect plays, and how well can we do? This one is a super butterfly after a big move down. A lot of speed on that one. Big trap. System calls the trap with the super butterfly. Big moves up. Let's see if we hold to an opposing signal on a ready DD on the super butterfly all the way back here to the back of the, is that a shark? Oh, it's a shark. Yeah, I can see the S kind of peeking right through there. I've got it back behind, and you can pull those forward. Let's talk about that real quick. If you want to bring these forward, I just click on the setup here. So here I'm going to click on the harmonic, and then I'm going to hold control on my keyboard and scroll the mouse. I'm sorry, it's shift. Hold shift, and now I can scroll. So I can see right now that you see this level, it says level 46 of 52. To scroll in pretty, you might have to zoom in on your chart there, but right where my mouse is, you'll see the levels, and I'm kind of floating it back and forth there. So if I want to put it back, it's currently at level 46. But if I wanted to bring it forward, I just scroll my mouse down, and now I can bring that all the way to the front, level 1. Now I can read everything there, but I'm going to put it back to 46 because that's just kind of how I like it. But you can do this and adjust this how you like. If you want the sharks back behind it or in front, you see how they're kind of behind and in front. These are like layers. If you are a graphics person, you know what we're talking about there. So level 46 of 53, but if you want to bring them forward to see stuff, you can change your clarity however you want. I just like mine set up like this. So if you've got this out of the box, you'll have my current settings. Okay, 194 tick up move on the perfect play right there. Let's see if we can find some other perfect plays. Well, there's a pretty obvious one right there. What is this one called? We got a shark back. Yes. Break the shark. What's the next play? RTOFA, pushing it back down and through. Huge move for a perfect trap called a shark tail. Now, make sure you know the difference between a shark back and a shark tail. So the shark back is the traditional play entry right there with the line on the back of the shark. If you were going to play this as a shark back, sometimes you'll get stopped out immediately. Remember, look how small that stop is on a shark back play. I think this one might be 3 or 4 ticks here. I'm going to get the actual measurement. Using our measurement tool, I'm going to measure from the back to the top of that. Because this is a 4 range on the Dow, that little box is actually 5 ticks. So 5 tick stop out there if you did shark back, but now the re-entry, if I'm going to increase trade size from trades 1 through 5, first one gets stopped out, lose 5 ticks, then I'm entering in on the ready DD, stop goes back behind the ready DD, and I've got a huge dropout down to the cipher for the follow through, for the perfect play. That one, 153 ticks for the full hold on a runner. Let's see if we can find some more here. That's obviously, nice, but is there a perfect play setup in there? Not really. We have the ready DD here, but it's kind of out front. Would be a tricky one to play that. I would not play a crab by itself. On an up move like this, I would need to see the RTOFA event closer inside of the crab. So inside the crab. Yeah, it's kind of crap instead of a crab. Not a super crab there because the ready DD is too far away. So not everything is a perfect play setup, but let's keep talking about looking for the perfect plays if you're going to wait for the sweetness. Now, what's this one right here? We just talked about it moments ago. We have a split cross reversal. And now, how can you tell? Because people have asked, well, how can you tell between a split cross reversal and a double cross move? It has to do with the distance. This is one that you just have to kind of record in your eyeballs. I can just tell visually, this is a split cross reversal. The distance between the two crosses, got a nice straight leg in between them. This is a classic split cross reversal. You'll hear me refer to these in the live streams as SCR. Split cross reversal, boom, to the upside. Let's look at the measure. Now, we also had a cipher in there, which makes one of those crosses, this one down here, was a PRZ cross. So measuring, if you're labeling the entire thing, we have a PRZ cross, and if you have watched our standard training videos, even in the basic 2-week free trial member area, you know what the PRZ cross is. The SCR is advanced, plus the SCR. Now, we love stacking things in our favor. Why I say perfect plays here, we've got the PRZ cross plus the split cross reversal there for the up move. Now, the up move there is 112 ticks, but we did not get a signal here, right? There's no, like, well, you couldn't really determine that that was the end of that move. That is true. This one is trickier there. So you get target 1, target 2, and this probably comes back, and yeah, that basically stops you out of point of entry for your runner. Let me make sure you understand that. Okay, it looks like a perfect play setup. You get your target 1, target 2, you're holding your runner, but what happens to your runner here? Your runner comes back to your point of entry. I mean, by a tick. It just kind of depends. If you're like me and you put it right in front of your entry point,
upper bands touch.
Yeah, stop it there. Basically, the runner gives you nothing. Even though it was a full 112 ticks, would have been nice to have gotten a signal up there. We did not get one on this one. So your runner doesn't really get you anything out of that up move, but hopefully you are learning how to read our signals. Now, there is a nice juicy blue Enigma here. I think this was yesterday though, correct? Yeah, we've kind of gone into the prior day now. So let's go over here. Also saw some really cool play setups, and I took a few off of NQ today as well. Has been a very nice day on NQ. Let's move this over. Okay, so I pulled over NQ, and let's talk about the after news event here. Right here at 10:10, we get a perfect 24.6 Enigma. Now, mind you, take a note, I'm on the 3s here. One of my favorite charts to play on NASDAQ. Now, on the Dow and the RTY, the slower markets, I will play off of the 1s, but on NASDAQ, you know how she is. She's a little bit crazy. Now, I like to have a 1s chart. If I'm exclusively playing the NQ in the afternoon, I'm going to be on the 1s because oftentimes NQ slows down a little bit in the afternoon. Now, if it speeds up, I'm going back to my 3s. I will always have my trusty 3s on NQ. Another advanced thing, I'm going to be doing the 3s. I always have an NQ 3s in my eyesight. Very cool play setups come in on the 3s. Absolutely love it. One of my favorites is the Super AO on the 3s. Okay, if you want to know one of my favorite plays, NQ 3s.
Divergence down EM on the 8th.
Super AO. All right. Almost every single time you give me one of these, brew me a cup of coffee, I'm going to be smashing that sucker. All right. It's almost every single time I'm going to be taking the Super AO. Okay, Super AO on NQ3s. This is what I'm looking for. I'll just tell you, just generally, I'm looking for this. Okay, if I get one of these, and oftentimes this will signal a reversal from the entire nerd. you'll see the other instruments kind of pivoting when you see one of these plays coming in on NQ3s. Now obviously nothing is 100%, but I absolutely love these. It's got a good R ratio as well on those, so we'll see if we find any of those. So I'm sitting here on the 3s. Obviously the 24.6 is the big push down play here. The opposing signal there is a 12.6, so if you're holding for the first dropout, that is 123 ticks using our measuring tool there. Not bad for the first move off of the move after the news event. Now speaking of news event, I'm going to do a separate video on this because we had a great day today to see when you are using our news indicator. This is the GUI for it. Sorry, move this over. Let me pull off the chat here for just a moment. And on the news GUI, if I move this up here to the left and kind of shrink it up here, you'll see the news items here. But we also have, if you have one of the options here that says verticals right here, show vertical news text, if you have this setting turned on, this is pretty neat to be able to see this on the chart, where they landed and how they impacted the markets that day. Now, whether it's the news or it's just the excuse for the technicals to play in, I'm more of a philosophy that the news is just an excuse for them to fill out and finish the technical moves. That's the way that I look at things. So I still just focus on the technicals when they occur. But let's look at these here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. I think you can see it's pretty obvious how cool that is. Yes, look at these verticals. So if you were to draw a yellow line across these, so I'm going to highlight this text. So these vertical texts literally say, you can read it, says low impact news, and it tells what the name of the event is. It's all written in vertical text. Sometimes a little squish depending on how long it took to write it. Whole thing about writing text in vertical on NinjaTrader. But if you zoom in, you'll see it tells the entire name of the news event right there. So in vertical, look at the move. I'm going to hold shift here. And so this one, draw a line right here. So here's the left side. And look what we do. We're coming into the news event and whoop, we whip ourselves back up to the top. Now we come up here, we touch a Bollinger, touch Super Bowls, turns red. And what do we see? Low impact news. We're coming into it. Oh, they use the news for the excuse to push it back down. Are you seeing the pattern here? We come into the news, shift, come into the news, shift. Let's look at another one. Oh, here comes another one. Now, this one, oftentimes the news will be one of two things. Here's how I look at news events when the news comes. Double cross, double move. Now, it doesn't necessarily, I should probably take out the double cross component of that because it doesn't necessarily have the crosses, but the double move that comes out of the news. So if you have price coming up into an area like this, and then here we go, we have our news event. Let's go to, what we make it red because it's like, oh, it's a red star news event here. So if we have our news event coming into it, so we either get this really big pivot off of it, or in this case, we're about to see here in just a moment, it will be the excuse for the market to do, and we get the double move. Now, the double move is the measuring distance between here and here, to here to here. And this is a classic DCDM. Of course, maybe change this to NDM instead, the news double move. So here we go. Here's this one. News event comes in right here. We're right into the middle zone here. We come into the rivers of life here and the big golden ropes. Uses that as an excuse for this news event to go, all right, I have double moved. Where's the double move? Let's draw it out. Yellow, come from here, touch the news. Here's the news, and then get that measurement. The up move here is about double, right? So that stick, double it up. There's your double cross, double move for the pivot reverse. And then here it is, another news event to shove this thing right back down. Becomes a pivot. So I like to use a news indicator to kind of see that as well. Higher time frame type of big place event, but really I'm still just looking for a high time frame event to coincide with a low time frame risk, because I don't want the high time frame risk. I don't want to sit there and hold a play for, you know, a 50 or 100 tick MAE. I don't want the max adverse excursion to come against me that far. I want low time frame risk, high time frame opportunity. So the first move, 123 ticks, the full move here, all the way out to the next Enigma. If you're playing on full auto Enigmas there, that's 285 ticks to the next green one. This is a super Enigma, comes in right here. Now, whether this came into the flat zone, let's see, with that big of a move, no, this is not going to land in the flat zone. So another beautiful super Enigma. So the super Enigma short, if you were to hold it to the 10.3, that's still 40 ticks. Just from inside the Enigma to the 10, that's 40 ticks. All the way drop out from this Enigma to the next Enigma, 72 ticks. Beautiful stuff there after the news event. Now, what do we see here? It looks like a Titanic Zone setting up to me. I'm going to be looking to take that long here, especially when they get close together. If you haven't been watching my live streams on this, again, go back and watch some of those. You'll see, and sure enough, look at that nice, beautiful move up out of a perfect play. Double ready ups sitting there. You've already got the Titanic Zone. You should have drawn this in to go, okay, here's the Titanic Zone. Now, what am I looking for? The trap behind it. Some people have missed this. I kind of, the Nomad crew, I think you guys are picking up on it now, but we kind of talked about this. I hopped in there. Trap behind the
NQ on the 3.
triple ready DD. So inside, we see the triple ready DD show up. We got the double ready DDs close together. Oftentimes, this is a reversal by itself. You'll see me take these on live streams. If I get a ready DD that shows this close together, I'm going to take it anyhow. I also have a structure. What's my structure? Structure is the crab. I have the multiple R2FA events. I'm going to take that as a reversal anyhow, but we also have the advantage of knowing, well, we had these right in front of it as well. And there's a big, nice up move. If you exit on the butterfly, that's 70 ticks. The whole move itself was 120 ticks. So can you get your bag out of that? I think so. Let's move and look for, again, more perfect plays there. Super butterfly short. Make sure you are going with the MACV Ultimate most of the time. That will kind of help you with your filtered direction on those. And let's see if we end up calling... actually, I wanted to show where we started going into the clustering. Yeah, we're starting to cluster right now. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult here. It is Friday afternoon. I would not want to necessarily be playing into this on a Friday. We have started to cluster. I did want to show, we had, I just got reminded by that beautiful pink. Yeah, this one right here. I saw this earlier today. Huge, beautiful. Look at this one. You'll see me. I'm always going to take a short on an 18 to 20 level. I will take a stab at it. Remember, again, they're not all 100%, but my stop on one of these here from, if I'm entering in on the center of the cross to the stop at the back of the cross here, it's a 13 tick risk. And oftentimes these will put out 20 ticks for target one. Pretty cool risk reward ratio there, 20. One of those that I want to reverse. Let's show one that didn't work though over here. I think we had an 18. Yeah, so this one, nice straight up. Yes, I would have probably tried to take that short. I don't know that it would have gotten me my 20 ticks. Let's give a measure. It did. It got me just 21. So I want to point this out. I will still take a shot at that. And I'm looking for 20 ticks. Yes, it went down 21 ticks before we did the up move here. Wasn't a big move down, but usually they are. Usually it'll give you like 30, 40 ticks, but I'm usually trying to grab about a 20 bag out of that. Now, if you want to do target one, target two, if you want to do 10, 15, 20, you know, it's in there. So let's see. Do we have another pink one by itself? No, that was the only one. Now, these are starting to cluster. Hopefully, you guys have watched my AOC video that I put out last night. This is clustering. Okay, write it down in your brain. You see the clustering. Too close together. They're just, oh man, they're not calling highs and lows anymore. Like this is nice. I want to see this. Even this, if I see a triple going up to an area, no problem. But you start getting them to where they're kind of touching into each other and they look like they're, you know, little sets of flowers hanging out on your chart here. This is starting to tell you we got clustering going on, which means we've got a trend type of scenario coming on. So be careful of trying to reverse things that would normally work. All of a sudden, don't. You just get this grind, go in the direction of the grind. When in a grind, do not rewind. We've got a lot of phrases to remind you guys of how that stuff goes. Let me see where we're currently at. This actually looks like a good play to the long side right now. So this is a three wise men. I want to take this long here. Let me see. Missing anything? I'm just now coming into it. We're inside the fiddle zone here. Let's watch here to see if I get this triple ready up to the long side. We are currently a moderate buy. I want to see if it stays on that side. If we go strong buy, I can add to it. Or if I'm listening for the audio box, I need to listen for audio box to come in for me. 16, I saw 17, 18. Did we get to 20? 15, I saw 18. Did not see 20 ticks. All right, I'll close it out there. See if I get a re-entry here in a moment. I want to hear audio box. Still have not heard quite go. Oh, here's a ready DD. Let's see if we end up. I'm hearing audio cues pushing down. Got a nice straight leg. There's a double ready DD.
Double delta NQ on the 3.
And there's a triple. And there's my 40 ticks. I'll take it. 12K on the day on a triple ready DD. Gave me the warning shot. It kind of saw me play with the three wise men that gave me the, hey, we're getting people off sides. Great. We get the dip out. Pop them out. Triple ready DD for the long side shot there. I held it for about 40 ticks. That ended up going 77 ticks right there. Now I am up 12K on the day with a little shimmy shake. Didn't quite go. Close it out. Adding to my position. Well, not really add. Going at it again when I get a triple ready DD back behind it and a pop-up move. Again, the more you play the game, the better you get at it. You'll see these repetitively. Go practice these, folks. I'm telling you, today would be a really good day to download Market Replay. This is a hot, hot day. It is Friday, January 3rd. Lots of action and movement here today. Fairly easy day. I would call this a candy day, not a difficult day at all. It came after a clustering difficult day yesterday. Yesterday was a difficult day. If you had a hard time on Thursday, on January 2nd, I would also download that day. These 2 days, back to back, you should be able to see the difference between a clustering day versus a non-clustered day where we had lots of trade opportunities there. But we are starting to cluster here this afternoon. So now be careful. Okay, we saw a lot of clustering here. We should be staying on the side of the MACV, which I still did. Even on this play, I stayed to the green side, right? I'd already identified that we had clustering. Which direction was the grind? You can see we have been up and up and up and up. I'm not going to be looking for a reversal in a scenario like this. When the clusters start to show up, I'm going to go in the direction of the MACV Ultimate. Now, I've covered a lot of stuff here in this one. Wanted to keep it to about 20 minutes. We went 30. Thanks for hanging out. It's Friday. Be back on Monday for... All right. Thanks, Vinny. Appreciate it. Back to our Algobox Academy, where we were. Perfect plays. Let's take a look at this one. How to trade the headshot with Confluence. Important to know.
What's a headshot? It's a fib dot with a FlowMaster Cross. Red dot, FlowMaster Cross. Shorts favorable, big sellers hurt on the tape. Sell it. Stop behind the dots. Large and king timing. With a delta shift equals more edge. Algobox. Superior multi-confluence trading.
Headshot. I'm sure everybody's got that one down by now, right? Algorithmic Confluence.
Stock the trade. Double sharp harmonic. Alpha cross with a delta flush. FlowMaster cross. That makes it a double power shark tail setup. Confluence. Real-time order flow analysis. A 1-minute trade. RTOFA.
Download your free trial at algoboxpro.com.
Confluence, putting them together. Let's move on. Lots of Confluence putting the pieces together. Speaking of putting the pieces together, let's talk about the turtle pattern. This is a pattern. When you see this layout, this is like a J-hook. Again, advanced level, I won't say only, but you need to have been around the markets for a while. But if you see this, this is it. Print one of these out, stick it on your wall somewhere, and be careful of doing things like, if you have to say, is that a turtle? And then it's not. It should be very obvious. I've mentioned this phrase before, where I say, if you're looking up at the clouds, sometimes it's just a cloud. Like, I see, is that a Bart Simpson in the clouds? Is that baby Jesus in the cloud? Sometimes it's just a cloud. Okay, is that a turtle? It might just be bars. It might just be bars. Okay, if it's absolutely, you won't have to ask. Right, it needs to be very specific. It's got a lot of things to it. I'm gonna say a lot, but it's got very specific things to it. First, it needs 2 feet on the turtle over here, which is kind of like a little trap. But you're gonna see 2 little feet on a turtle. He's got 2 feet, and he might even have his little tail over here. Okay, and then he's got a big shell, and he's got some neat little crosses on his back. You know, some cool little stuff back there. Well, I'll get into my whole thing. God put the entire lunar cycle on the back of a turtle. Y'all know about that? The 13 pieces and all that. Anyway, you can check that out. All right, so then he's got his head, his neck. He's got a turtle neck. Okay, he's got his little head, kind of reminding me of the little doggy hot head scenario. This guy's oftentimes got an even bigger head than that. There's his nice little head right there. He's like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm the turtle. Where are my front legs? Oh, I pulled my front legs into my shell. Don't worry about it. And I'm looking for a setup entry in here. Oftentimes a headshot, a double dot in this area. This is where I'm looking for my entries, is over here on the head. Don't be tempted into going, oh, I see a turtle shell. Let me take the neck. Be careful of that, because sometimes these can just keep on going and going and going. And when it's not a turtle setup and it just goes like this, sometimes it's just a curve and we're going down. So be careful of that. Make sure we got this nice little setup here where you kind of got the twofer. And then I'm entering in right here for the long side on the turtle. Let's see, the turtle feet. The area where new sellers may get trapped in short positions. Yes, that's the trap back there on the left. As price rises from the turtle shell, trapping new buyers and new sellers, causing confusion as price whipsaws up and down as the shell pattern unfolds. And again, people are generally trying to go, oh, it looks like it's an up move. Oh, we're up. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Oh, let me flip my position. It's a lot of trapping going on. And then I want to see an Enigma or a headshot or a big move up and out of there. Okay. As the shell pattern unfolds, more short-term sellers entering the market likely place their stops just above the shell right here, which is what causes the mayhem to begin with. And then when the ignition bar hits there, or somebody hits the spark and lights that sucker, it explodes to the upside. This price slowly grinds toward the turtle feet location. New buyers may enter, and the sellers near the turtle feet likely close their positions at a loss, adding to the buying pressure. Sellers that hold their position hoping for a continuation down begin to feel the squeeze as the turtle neck is the first swift movement in price we need to wait for to confirm the pattern. Once you see the neck, that's the key that we've got it. Here's a live example there. Even better when it's got a nice surrounding of a green shark, making it look nice and green turtley. He's got his two little legs back here. He's got his neck there, and of course the super launch up and out of there. Didn't really have an entry there. You'd have to, this is one of those scenarios where you might want to take that piercer that I was talking about. When you're looking for the play, and we've broken out the back of that, the only play here on this chart, now maybe I didn't have crosses turned on, maybe this is an example image that got taken here, but there's no other entry there. This is where the piercer might come into play. You're like, oh, I'm going to take this, I want to get this entry in on this turtle, and my worst case scenario, I'm taking the entry and my stop's right there anyhow, but if this is a turtle, I've got a big play on my hands. Since a turtle is tricky, a price structure pattern, you may want to be on the lookout for other signs of confluence at various stages of the pattern. One of these, Master Alpha Omega, Audiobox, Enigma, and of course we even talked about a minute ago, even a piercer might be on the list there, but you want to look for a combination of one of these, especially, well, not even especially, you want it in the head area. In the head or just behind the head. Make sense? Head takes out the shorts, and vavoom. Traps are very powerful things. If you find traps, if you can get really good at finding traps, you can get some really good plays. And Algobox is going to give you some nice entry signals on those. But if you start with identifying the trap where you're like, oof, that got somebody. Oh, somebody's stuck right there. Oof, that got some people. They were definitely looking short on that. Look at how strong that down move is. I might have even gotten excited about taking that down move right there. Look at that. Boom, boom. You're like, oh, it's going to go. Oh, leg of hope. The LOH. Oh, here it goes. Okay, it's coming down. Going down. Trapped sellers. Oh, my. Oh. Nope. Up and out of there. All right, let's play the turtle. Don't get stuck in the trap.
The turtle strategy is based on a price structure trap pattern. Once the pattern forms, it can lead to a swift and extended move. Patience is key when stalking trades while this pattern unfolds. The turtle feet is where new sellers often get trapped. As price rises, the turtle shell traps both buyers and sellers, causing confusion. Sellers place their stop losses above the shell area, adding pressure as price moves. As price comes back close to the turtle feet, new buyers may enter. Sellers near this area close their positions at a loss, adding buying pressure. The turtleneck marks the first swift movement, confirming the pattern look for additional confluence, using tools like FlowMaster Alpha Omega, Audiobox, and more. These can help validate the turtle pattern and guide your entries. Thanks for watching.
All right, and then there's a lot of details and more examples here on the longer video. You guys can go check that one out on your own. It is boot camp, so we're going quickly. Here we go. Regions. We talked about this. You need to make sure you have a, I would say you have to. I would recommend having a hotkey to draw regions. I've got one on my mouse where I can just press the button, draw some regions that can be used for multiple things here. So let's read through this one. Region highlighting visually emphasizes areas where the price is ranging in an accumulation zone. By drawing a region around these zones, you can more easily identify potential breakouts once the price breaks out. Another one is DCRs. A huge one. I don't see this on the list here, but DCRs, you're gonna miss out on a lot of great play setups on DCRs if you are not using that region highlight. Now, sometimes you can just visually see them, but I would recommend highlight them as often as possible. Make it a habit. Be part of your routine of drawing in regions on highlighting zones like this, okay? Once price breaks out of the highlighted area, you can potentially enter trades using Confluence strategies like the FlowMaster Enigma, DCDM, PRZ Cross, etc. How to highlight a region. Here we go. What it looks like. Okay, up top, click on your tools. It is the region highlight Y. You can click on it by going up to the top of your chart and selecting it like it's doing right here in the example, or you can set that to a hotkey so you don't have to do the drawing tool at the top. Also, by default, it is Shift 2 if you're one of those types of people who likes to know what all the keys are by default. Shift F2. The break of a region. When a highlighted region is broken, it often indicates a strong move in that direction. Unless it's a fake out. Like, let's talk about, well, we're not going to talk about that right now. Just let's go with the default type of thing here around regions. Just draw the regions, and then there's various play setups on those. Don't be disillusioned by, oh, it's a breakout of the area and I'm just going to take off here. That's what it's showing. No, let's just, these are just examples here, and just really I want you to be able to draw these, and then we're looking for our play setups. This is just, oh, use a region and then we break out in a region. No, because oftentimes you'll actually get manipulated in a direction first before the real play comes. You'll find the traps inside, and then you look for plays in the other direction. This is not an entry, okay? Not an entry setup, not an execution strategy here, okay? Let's wait until a play setup. Here we go. Here's an example. I'm got to one of these. Region breakout with the executed trades. After region breakout, it is advisable to place an order only if a signal or a strategy is present. Yes, okay, good. I did put that in our notes here as we go along. So just because it breaks out in that area, I need something to enter in on. This is a nice example here where we've got a DCDM play. You look over here to the left, can you see the trap? Lie straight leg down into it. You can totally see that some people might have gotten all sides on that. We move up. Oh, they're stuck. Leg of hope right there. Boom, DCDM. Now they're trying to add to positions. Stops are getting run, and we get that nice little juicy push that I might use that target up there on a double cross, double move outside of a region. Here's an example on the other side. Going down outside of it, DCDM. A great play that comes outside of the play. Now, what you'll notice is that double cross outside of the zone. If that double cross lands inside of the zone, what are we looking at? A DCR. Okay, that double cross is inside of the region. We're going back up. Remember that from the DCR. More examples of region breakouts. This one has an Enigma on the way on the backside. My absolute favorite of these is when we have the Enigma plus DCDM, right? The absolute gold mine. That was my biggest play. Well, one of the biggest plays of the day. I think it was pretty close to being one of my biggest plays of the day on the double cross plus the Enigma double cross out of the trap, right? This one looks like got him off sides, big move up, and then we're coming back down the other way. That's going to be nasty if she goes, right? Comes in, Enigma outside of the zone, and we're off to the races on an Enigma short right there. Okay. Alpha Omega clustering. This is a rare scenario that has occurred. Actually, what's interesting is it's almost like depending on the type of environment it's coming on. Notice we had a lot of these at the beginning of the year, in the first quarter of the year, and we're into the second quarter of the year, and it's been like crickets. I haven't seen these scenarios since y'all know what I'm talking about? Anybody who's been around here for a little bit, we had them in January, February, and March even, and then here we are coming in April, May, and after the contract rollover occurred, we just don't see these anymore. It's been very wild. I know we had the tariff information and things of that sort, and it just was like, whoa, crazy. But anyhow, we do have alerts for these. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here on these tonight. There's a video on these at the bottom of this. Just know that if you see something like this, and you're like, what is going on with the charts? Are my charts broken or something like this? No, this could actually mean something. In fact, I tell our students to throw a warning in the chat if this occurs. If what we call AOC shows up, all right? AOC is well known in the U.S. as a person in the United States Senate, but that's not what we're talking about here. This is alpha omega clustering, and we're not talking about like a little cluster. We're talking about when it's just clustered up all over the charts where you can't even hardly see your bars anymore. If this occurs, we've basically got a run day on our hands in general. Now, it's not guaranteed, but we have found many times where it's like this day just runs and runs and runs, and then when it goes the other way, it runs and runs and runs and runs. And it's one of those where you just don't want to be off sides on those. You don't want to get caught, and so we're expecting it, and either that's a day where I'm like, I am sitting out, I'm not even going to play this, not even going to try to pick pivot turns, nothing, I'm out, or I know this could occur, and I'm like, I am playing small, and I'm looking for big runs as long as I am on sides. Like the cluster AOC is like AOC, the cluster is also nuts, just like AOC, indeed. Let's see, study an irregularly high quantity of alpha omegas during a directional move down on the Ripple B chart, is the example of above, indicates a high potential for a trending move for possibly a significant portion or the rest of the day. Yeah, it just goes and goes and goes. Yeah, so there's also new AOC alerts in the room here. I don't think this one's very long. Let's go ahead and play this one through because it's probably gonna do a better job than I'm doing here telling you about it. Let's roll through it.
Imagine making $453,000 in a single month as an affiliate marketer without...
Already then. Happy New Year, everybody. No, it's longer. Okay, this one's 23 minutes. Again, a lot of details around this. Ride the grind, find the grind, play in the direction of the grind. That's it. That's what you need to know. Like, stay on side with it or sit out. I am literally like, I think someone, yeah, sit out. Ask yourself, Do you really want to play this? Okay. If you see this, this is a day to like just go do something else. All right, in my opinion. Now you want to practice it, play with it, that's fine. We've got some great graphics around this, thanks to Don James. He's awesome. Did some fun in it's like the angry unicorn coming onto your charts. Yeah, wow, the Monday AOs now. Yeah, be very careful. That's all I can say is if you see AO clustering, we have an alert now on this that should alert into our chat on our main server. Our server will literally alert us for this. This is looking across all instruments for these events to occur on lower time frames. Just know if you hear us talking about these or like, oh, alert, AOC coming on the charts, just know that it's from experience there that has, we've seen that before. Let's talk about some AO continuations, alpha, omega. Now, the alpha, omega in general is the beginning and the ending, okay? So the alpha and the omega, the beginning of a move and the end of a move. So what about a continuation? Because most of the time, if you're thinking about an alpha, omega, that is like, okay, we're beginning, might be a pivot, and then the end of the move might be a pivot back the other way. So what happens on a continuation, and when might we know when a continuation would occur? Had one of those today. It had it in 11. Remember, if the well, I don't remember yet because we haven't gotten to it yet. Let's talk about it as we go. But had a great one today, so you do want to be aware of these and know how to play them. Alpha omega continuation refers to the scenario where a FlowMaster alpha or omega is plotted following a significant price move in a specific direction, indicating a continuation of a trend in that same direction. For instance, if a FlowMaster alpha is plotted after a substantial upward movement, it may suggest a potential continuation of the upward trend. And this doesn't tell all the details. It's important to pay attention to the power number on the left. The higher the number, the more likely it is to reverse. That's what you need to know. The higher the number, the more likely it is to reverse. The lower the number it is, the more likely it is for a continuation, especially if it is a 10 or 11. If I see a 10 or 11, I am automatically thinking this is probably going to be a continuation, just so you know, my default. And again, not always, it doesn't happen every single time, but if it is a 10 or 11, I'm basically looking for a continuation first. Examples of an alphametric continuation. Yeah, this one's a 12.5, you know, pretty close. Again, 10, 11. We start hitting that 15 level though. No, not so much. Yep, there's my favorites right there. If it shows me up in 11, we started a big down move, especially if there's been a trap behind it, that first one. I'm looking for people, they're probably getting off sides on that, and I'm looking to go against them. Oftentimes, I will measure out a double move scenario here. I will measure out from the pivot to this location and measure out a double move for the target as I'm entering in. Now, I'll still target one, target two, but I'll hold a runner off to a measured move there off of a level 10 or a level or 11. If I've got what? Two things, nerd and arrow with me, right? My two steps in front, OOP first, order of operations, then an entry in the direction of my expected bias. Examples of alpha mega continuations, the executions. Yep, that one's about 10, 11-ish, 12-ish. Another one, 11.8. And stop scenarios, they're showing that in this example right here. Boom, stop behind it, and we're looking for some targets there. Again, target one, target two, hold out to an opposing signal if you like. And I'm going to skip on this one because we're running out of time here. If I want to try to keep us in our 2-hour window here, let's go on to Super Alpha Omega. But go play back that video; you'll kind of get it. It's a quick one. The Super Alpha Omega is a combination of FlowMaster Alpha Omega appearing on the chart alongside a double delta ready DD. So this one is a combo breaker. Gotta love those. It is simply, it basically looks like this. Now they can be close to each other. Again, one of those, my 10 to 15 bar rule. Within 10 to 15 bars of each other on algo bars, then I will count them the same. I'm looking at a Super AO. Super because it's got the ready DD. And then, of course, the AO. That one, Super AO, looking to the long side, Super AO, looking to the short side. That is what the Super AO looks like. It is such a powerful move that I incorporated it into the Dream panel. So if you are looking inside of your Dream panel and you see Super AO full auto, it is a button inside here that you can press to turn the Super AO on for your full auto there, and it will take those automatically for you. if you have the Enigma Platinum Edition. Right? Lower two examples. I mean, you can see it. It's juicy. Stops, same thing as always. Dots, boxes, crosses. Now, if you want to be a little more risky, the ReadyDD text, if you're wanting to hold out or you want to build position in this area, you can. You know, that's really up to the trader themselves. Again, pretty straightforward. Don't want to insult your intelligence by being like, oh, can you see it? Can you see it? Of course you can. Super AO, it's just super powered. I love them. I take them all the time. Moving over to another of my favorites, the SuperMoon. This is an Enigma play setup, real-time order flow analysis along with the Enigma, which also has internally Z-level components. All right, SuperMoon strategy combines two proprietary real-time order flow tools, the FlowMaster Enigma and the FlowMaster ReadyDD. So it's super because it's got the ReadyDD, and the Moon is an Enigma. Let's play our neat little graphic here for you. Basically, any one of these plus a ReadyDD, you got yourself a SuperMoon. You probably get the idea already. When the Enigma and the ReadyDD appear in close proximity, this is a powerful combination, often indicates strong moves aligned with the direction of the Enigma. You see something like this? Juicy. You see something like this? Juicy. Right? The vertical ReadyDD indicator further simplifies your trading by making it easier to spot the double delta flags, which if you're looking down here, that's what it's indicating, that you got some monstrosities and you got a double level going on there, which is not going to be created by humans. All right, so we know there's some juice coming in behind it. There's a blue one. Now, sometimes they may come in with, if you've got the color codings turned on, which I always recommend, you're going to have the color codings on it even better if it coincides with the direction that you're looking. Let's play this video here real quick.
The SuperMoon strategy, a game-changing combination of Algobox tools, the FlowMaster Enigma and Ready Double Delta, a green Enigma appearing after a ReadyDD signals a SuperMoon long setup. This pairing often predicts strong upward momentum. On the flip side, a red Enigma following a ReadyDD marks a SuperMoon short setup, signaling potential for a sharp move down. Make SuperMoon setup stand out by enabling the ReadyDD vertical highlight in your settings. Customize the colors to match your style. That's the SuperMoon strategy. Simple, powerful, and customizable. Ready to supercharge your trading? Try it today.
All right, let's get to the Titanic Zone, and then don't jump out yet because we're going to get into the dream panel to round out our strategies here tonight. The Titanic Zone, one of our more recent discoveries, and I almost would say a discovery, because I sometimes joke, as you are a coder developer, that especially in the trading industry, that so you have an idea, you build it, and you guys remember the old movie, The Field of Dreams, with Kevin Costner, and says, if you build it, they will come. Remember that whole thing? Because he's like, what should I do? If you build it, they will come. All right. Well, sometimes that happens. Happened with the speedometer, and this is another one of those. I developed the ReadyDD with the idea that I'm like, I just want to be able to see the DDs because sometimes I miss them, and I'm like, all right, let's put them in verticals, and next thing you know, I'm discovering there are other combinations of combinations that I couldn't have fathomed prior to seeing step one. Sometimes you can't see the other side of the veil till the first part of the veil is revealed. Anyhow, this is one of those that came about of that, and super excited about literally the discovery of what I call the Titanic Zone now. Let's get into this one. Do not overlook this one. Please pay attention. You're going to see me do these in the live streams a lot. This is my 100 tick bagger. Maybe my only 100 tick bagger that I'm actually planning out for 100 ticks that I will literally, you'll see me counting the ticks as they go, is on the Titanic Zone. Now, not that I don't take 100 tick trades on others when I get, some runner, like a lucky runner, but this is one that you can literally plan out for on a 100 tick play when these come all the way to their point of target and they reach it. All right, check it out. Big and slow reversal. Now, the Titanic Zone is a high probability reversal setup that forms after a strong directional move begins to lose momentum instead of an immediate shift. Price action starts to sell and curve, forming a subtle arc or rounded base. Now, Titanic Zone, a high probability reversal. Okay, same thing. Watch for the triple ready DDs. Now, in this example here, we've got 4 here, and it's just for illustration purposes because there's a nice Titanic ship there with a 4 stack. Okay, now, there's a longer video where I go into talking about how it takes the Titanic a very long time to make its turn. So if a Titanic is going north and it's traveling along in the waters, remember it's so big, it took time for it to curve to try to miss the iceberg, right? It ended up hitting the iceberg, but there's some iceberg floating out in the water. It's like, oh no, I'm trying to avoid it. And of course, we know the story, it ended up hitting it, but let's pretend for a minute that it didn't, or it did hit it and it tried to turn, and it's going to take a very long time for it to sink. And why I say that is because this curve can be super long sometimes, okay? Especially when these are spaced out. The more spaced out the distance between the ready DDs, the longer and slower it's going to take for the turn. But what this indicates from a lower time frame, this is how a lower time frame can actually predict a higher time frame move, which is almost most of the time reversed, right? Most of the time we're looking for a high time frame setup to indicate where I can get a lower time frame entry. This is on the lower time frames. I'm paying attention, got my eyes here focused in on the lower time frame, and I've seen a third, and now in this case a fourth, but I see 3 ready DDs of the same color. Then I'm looking for that pivot turn, and this indicates to me that the higher time frame is about to come into play, and this section is done. They're starting to take their positions off in this area. That's what we're seeing when we start to see these ready DDs as the position is moving, particularly right now, I'm talking about moving up, and they're going to sell into that momentum up. You can see it happening internally with our system on the ready DD. During this slowing phase, our proprietary indicator of the ready DD becomes key. When 3 or more ready DDs appear close together within this curve, it signals a potential higher time frame rotation developing beneath the surface. Okay, now we want them, the best is when they are of the same color. You notice this one started out, it had this little green, ended up probably shoving it up a little bit farther. They weren't done yet. Now, they start to sell off. They start to sell off. They start to sell off. And they're handing it off to another player. Now we get this reversal down. Makes sense? That's what we're looking for. Most of the time we want 3 of the same color. We call it the Titanic Zone because the reversal takes longer than expected. It's not a sudden flip, but a slow, deliberate turn, much like a massive ship changing course. Once the cluster of ready DDs appears, we don't rush in. We wait for further confirmation. Most of the time a trap. I'm looking for a trap. I want to see them totally get wrecked on the wrong side using price structure and real-time order flow signals from our system. Here's a great example here with a super Enigma on it. This one's like super easy. On one where you show up with an Enigma, it's like, duh, no brainer, but they're not always that easy. Let's move down and go to, let's see, these added layers of Confluence help validate this shift in control. The goal is to enter in sync with the new emerging direction before momentum fully kicks in. The Titanic Zone helps traders catch that transition at the turn, not the aftermath. So you're being able to see it come ahead of time. And this one, we had ready DD 1, 2, 3, and 4. And look at the slow turn. So we've come into this area, and now we get this slow turn to the upside. At this point on this play, this one's up 57 ticks to the location right here. This is on the Dow. Now, let's look at one where we've got a target of 100 ticks here. Let's see if we've got an example for that one. Another one with just a lot of ready DDs all lining up here. And what do we get? The slow turn, but the indication that they're getting them off sides and the big run up on the triple ready DD. Now, same thing on this side. Lots of ready Ds getting all clustered up here. Moving to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now some more. 5, 6, 7. And that indicates we're going to be sticking back inside as they are exchanging hands. Like taking candy from a baby. I don't know if we needed to go that far with it. Getting a little exaggerating here, but we get the big up move and into the triple ready DD, especially that one where they're two like super close to each other. And we get the turn. Beautiful plays there on those. Let's see. I'm not sure how long this one is here. Let me see if this one's short enough. No, this is a long one. We go into this section. Now, this one is actually time stamped for you. I would recommend you guys go back and play this one, and you'll see some really neat stuff. This one is not showing you how I'm actually targeting the bottom of a Titanic zone, where I've got 3 in an area, particularly on the NASDAQ, and I'm targeting the bottom of where the Ready DD starts. There are some advanced level things on that that I think you want to go back and watch, but for our purposes here on our boot camp here, we're going to leave it right there. Just know you're looking for 3 or 4. And this is going to signal that I'm looking for a high time frame reversal, and we'll talk more about targeting as you get into the advanced level video stuff, or see these in our live streams, which again we'll be back tomorrow morning for at 9 a.m. Eastern. Let me get into the big dog. Let's talk about the Dream Panel. The Dream Panel is going to handle multiple things for you. Now, we've talked about this initially, but I wanted to cover a couple of other items in the parameters. So first, let's start with the parameters themselves besides the buttons. The buttons are pretty obvious. Some things are more obvious than others, but I want to start with going into the actual parameters themselves here for just a moment. This is the FlowMaster Enigma Platinum, also known as the Dream Panel. So if you are, hearing somebody might say the Enigma Platinum, some people might say the Dream Panel. These are synonymous with one another. One of the items that is not so obvious because it's not on the buttons or anywhere, but we do have a time filtering as well right here. The default is set to, you'll notice, midnight to midnight. At midnight to midnight, this means it will take plays at any time of the day. I apologize. Let me clear my throat here real quick. We do have a time filter here. Now, if you have been watching our full auto videos, which we're going to go into starting tomorrow. Tomorrow we're getting into a lot of full auto fun on the time filtering. It is nice to know what are the best times of day. We always have this question a lot. What's the best time of day to run X, Y, or Z? Now, especially on full auto, this becomes more important. If you go into our full auto section on the left-hand side of Discord, or you're heading to our website, top left, it says full auto. There are about 30 videos there, and there are multiple videos, particularly around looking at your how to figure out time of day. Extremely important. We call Todd. You got to check with Todd. Hey, Todd. Call him up. TOD, time of day. The Dream Panel. Yes, it's the dream, baby. It's got all of that built into it. So if, I don't know, I still hesitate to tell anybody to walk away from their desk. I really think you should be managing your bots like you would employees that you don't trust with the cash register. Okay, they're playing around with your cash. You should be at your desk. But let's just say hypothetically, you were like, I'm going to have an extended coffee break here this morning, whatever. Again, doing hypothetical here, I would not recommend doing this. But let's say that you wanted to have this automatically kick off for you at, say, 9:20 a.m. You can probably figure this out, right? You can set this to go 9:20, and if you followed along and done some of our TODs with us, you'll know that the Enigma works its best between about 9:15 a.m. to around like 10:45, like right there before. It's questionable as to whether you run it all the way to 11 or not. It kind of depends on the day and what's going on with the speed, but if you're trying to cover the bell curve of time, the best time of day when you are going to see like the most amount of basically the biggest rise in P&L is between 9:15 and 10:45 a.m., which is no surprise. The most activity is probably around this time of day as well. So if I wanted to set this ahead of time, I can. I've got the TOD there in the parameters, and this is not on the buttons. So if you're wondering, hey, where do I change time of day? So help anybody else out. If you're like, hey, where would I change the time of day? Have it automatically stop for you and whatnot. It is right here. The other thing is this is not going to close out your trades at 10:45. It will take the last entry. It will not take any more trades after this time point. Now, that also still means you're going to need to flatten positions if there are positions open if you want to close them out. Because if you are playing side to side, like I do, if you've been watching me on live streams recently, side to side, well, if you're entered in onto a position and there's no other side to exit, you're going to need to manually close those out. So if you're using the TOD, this is just a specific thing. If you decide that that's what you want to do, then you're going to need to make sure you know the deal. It's not going to close your trades. Everybody understand that? If you understand what I'm saying there, it's not going to close out your trades. It will just stop any more entries. Type of 1. 2, if you need a little further review and ask a more detailed question, that's what we're here for. Super AO thresholds. Let's see. This is also one that is only controlled via the parameters on Super AOs. So you can change this as well. So if you are like, you know what, I want to take one that's, I still want a Super AO if it's a 10. And again, you can go and run these in Market Replay and backtest these to your heart's content to go look at Super AOs and look at what is the best number. Maybe you want to set this to a 12. Like I've kind of said before, like an 11, 10, 11 is like kind of continuations. So just for me, for the safe side here, I've got my Super AO threshold by default set to a power level of 15 for a Super AO, and this has to do with the power level of the cross. Remember, on the AOs, we have power levels on those, and a 10 or 11 was a continuation generally, and after hours here, so we're not going to have too much to see here. And there's a level 10, right? That number right there is what it's referring to. And by default, out of the box here, it is set to 15. So if you want to change that, you'll have to go into the parameters area. That is one of the few things that is not in the button panel itself on the outside. When you do change this once and you hit save, it will it'll maintain that for your next launch. Some people have asked that before on the parameters. They will save if you have put them in the parameters area. Now, you do not have to set these in the parameters. However, if you do want them to stay there all the time, basically set this in the parameters. Otherwise, on restart, some of these will be unchecked and unselected for you. If there are settings that you want to stay all the time, then you want to set them here in the parameters. That would be the difference between setting them here in the parameters and saving your workspace versus, so for instance, the Fiddle Zone here. If you want Fiddle Zone on all the time, you would want to select that option. Now, some of these buttons, like Fiddle Zone, do actually stay on for you. So if I select Fiddle Zone on to turn that Fiddle Zone filter on, so that we do not take any Enigmas or Super AOs, this filtering does apply to both, to both the Enigma and the Super AO entries if you have the filters on down below. Okay, so I know we have been over a lot of the panel here before. I'm going to run through it real quick one more time here on our Confluence level areas. Well, if I missed anything, I will cover it tomorrow night. We have run pretty long here, right? We're over our 2-hour area here, but the section right up here, this is the Confluence levels, L1, L2, L3, and L4. When you go into the Enigma videos, when you're talking about the various power levels of Confluence on these, remember our default is 2, right? We went over that before. 2 is what I would leave, like if you're doing rule of thumb, when in doubt, leave it at 2. Make sense? Arm long, arm short, you know what to do on those. Full auto versus semi-auto, we went over those. Semi-auto is only going to take the next one and not going to take continuous next series of either AOs or Enigma, and will basically turn it off after the next play if you are on semi-auto, right? Invert logic, you can probably figure that out. Red is green, green is red. SuperMoons, just to remind everyone that these are filters. So these two are filters for the Enigma. So if you have MoonShot turned on, you're wondering, hey, how come my Enigma didn't fire? Remember, this means that I'm not going to take the Enigma unless it also has, in the case of a MoonShot, a cross. Not going to take it here unless it also has a ready DD. These are independent of one another. If you have either one of these on, it won't wait for the other one. It will take either one of these. So these are an OR clause in here, MoonShot or SuperMoon if you have these turned on. MacVU filter. This is, do you want it to filter them or do you not? Do you want it to only take MacVUs in the color direction of the Enigma? So if the Enigma is green, then my MacVU also must be green. If it's red, it must also be red if this is turned on. Neutrals, remember this is kind of like the anti-filter here. If it's off, that means that I'm not going to take neutrals. If you want to take neutrals, if you have this filter on, this is a filter for the filter. These two next to each other, the MacV off and the neutral on or off, have to do with each other. These have to be used in conjunction with one another. If you have this neutral turned on by itself without anything else, I mean, you can. I guess I could stop you from doing that, but if you have it on, it doesn't mean anything. It's literally innocuous unless you have this button turned on. Make sense? The neutral applies to the MacVU, MacV Ultimate only, okay? The E power, so this is the Enigma power. If you find value in these, I have mentioned this before, that sometimes I've seen a very powerful move off of a level 1. Okay, so it doesn't just mean that it's not, but in theory, again, for me, if I see a level 20, I'm pretty much going to hit it every single time. There's like a psychological thing about that. I'm probably going to take that, and I'm definitely going to retry it. Versus a 1, I may not do a retry rule. If it blows through on a 1, I'm like, I'm not going to mess with it. But on a level 20 or higher, you know, something super high, if it didn't work the first time, as we come back through it, I'm probably going to give it a 2-try rule. On the 20s, I may not give a 2-try rule on something small like single digit area. All right, so a single digit needs to work right away. Now, I've seen really great ones. Like I said, an 8, I don't know what it is with the magic number 8, but 8, there's really some awesome plays. I've seen a lot of great 8s on the 8 on the Enigma Power, but you can change that filter right here and you can set it to whatever you want. This one is not something you have to control in the parameters. You can hit the little up down arrow there to set it to whatever power filter that you want if you have the E-Power filter turned on. Fiddle Zone filter does exactly what you think it is. Basically, do not take trades inside the Fiddle Zone. I have this one on every morning when I'm running on my local account. Now, I have this off when I'm running my side to sides, when I'm running across 6 instruments that you see me start off before pre-market. When I turn those on and let them run through the session there, I usually turn them off as the thing either hits a certain P&L line or time of day or right before news, where I will cut off the 6 bots, but I don't have the Fiddle Zone on those generally, at least as of this date. Today is the 28th of April, 2025. The algo bar size right here, this refers to how wide the Fiddle Zone is. If you want it on the 6s, the 8s, the 9s, we have some general guidelines and rules around what they should be by default for your MACV local to you, based on whether it is on the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, ES, crude oil, gold. But sometimes, like in this case, I like mine a little bit smaller. I'll do the 6 because I really just don't want to take it in the very center areas on that. So I will literally, I kind of want to take those. Does that make sense? Like I'd rather, I like to lean on the side of more risk than less. If you want to take less risk, then you might want to increase this bar size up to like an 8 or a 9. Flatten All is different than close in one regard, that the Flatten All will close all positions in that account. So if you have NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, Gold, Crude, all of them, doesn't matter. Like this morning, had a great scenario. I think I had 4 trades open across them. When I hit Flatten All one time, hit that button, it flattened all of them on that account there. And that can be handy, especially when you are trading with full auto across multiple instruments. So full auto, speaking of full auto, well, it's going to be a big day tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. Who's ready for some full auto tomorrow? You guys ready for that?
Yo, let me come here to sing you.
Are we ready for that? I'm excited about it. It's going to be awesome. Let's see. What else was I going to cover? Right at 2 hours plus. All right. Thanks for hanging out tonight. This concludes session 7. Come hang out with us tomorrow morning. Don't forget, the best offers are going to be right here during this 10-day event. Afterwards, the next best is going to be joining during your 2-week free trial. Thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis G, and Eddie B, I am sending out the Big H-Town. See ya.
The old adage where, the individual investor doesn't have a chance because the institutional investor has better technology, better information, and, more money and better opportunity, I don't think it's real anymore. I think the edge is on the individual investor because they're small, they're nimble, they can trade, they can use front-end technology.
Don't waste your time. Leave the technical analysis to us. You just play the game.